All right, so let's watch the intro video on shaders and materials.
Shaders and material.
As always, make sure that you are signed into your account in the upper right corner so that you get credit and experience points as you go through these.
Those define how your objects look by turning 3D meshes into surfaces with color and texture. Shaders give your objects color, smoothness, shininess, and even physical texture. Whatever kind of world that you're building, whether it's photorealistic or has an artistic style, you'll use shaders and materials to make every object look like it's a part of that world. In this project, you'll learn about light and surfaces so that you can speak the language of shaders and materials. You'll learn how to simulate real-world surfaces and otherworldly objects. You'll even learn how professionals make custom shaders to create special surface effects. With this knowledge, you'll be able to stylize 3D objects for many types of Unity projects. So let's get started.
All right. So as I said last week, this mission does have a lot more content to get through than what we've been doing. We go look at the modules for the week. You can see, whoa, there's a lot of tutorials here, right? That's because there's a lot to learn. And in all these missions in this pathway, we're going really deep into each section. So there's a lot of information to cover, a lot more expected of you to do in your Unity projects as you go through these. Okay. So getting started, one of the first tutorials here is getting started at the very top here. Get started with shaders and materials. So with all the get started with tutorials for the rest of the trimester, we're going to be using their project that they give us and then going in and changing things as they tell us. So that's different because all the projects we've done so far, you've created a new project, right? You created a new project either from a template or the guided project we did last week. You created a new project, blank and empty, and then you brought some stuff in. So all the future missions for the rest of the trimester, we're going to be downloading their whole projects and then going in and changing it. So what does that mean? What does that look like? How do we do it? Let's go to the get started with tutorial here. So first of all, again, make sure you're signed in to your name, your account in the upper right, and also make sure that you have the right version selected in here. So upper left, make sure that you have 6.0 selected to most closely match the version of Unity that you have on your computer. And then you will have the correct project at the top of the mission for the Get Started tutorial. So, reminder for that, it's a zip file. We got to download that. And I did make a specific clear tutorial here for you that's linked on the modules right after the Get Started With tutorial. That's why it's got red exclamation points. Make sure you get the correct version of the shaders and materials project. So if we go look at that Google Doc I made for you here, very clear. So let's go over this again. First, check to see what version of Unity you actually have in the hub. We have version 6000.1.15 installed. So that means we need to choose version 6, like I just said. And the reason I put that up at the top, checking your version, that way in case you're at home or somewhere else, you may have a different version installed. So it's just important to match the version you actually have installed to the project version that you download naturally. Okay. So on the Get Started With Shaders tutorial, you can see the zip file. Next step, download the zip file. It'll be in your downloads folder. Double click that zip file to go inside of it. And once you're inside of it, you're going to drag the contents out of the zip file to your desktop with a single click and drag. In this case, it should just be a folder called Creative Core Shaders U6. All right. And then we're going to open the Unity Hub, click the Add button. So this is different, right? In the past, we've always been clicking New Project. This time we're choosing add because it's an already completed project that we're going to modify. All right, so choose add. Then you're going to navigate to the desktop. You're going to choose that extracted folder we pulled out of the zip file, and then you're going to click open. Okay. Then Unity is going to give you some warning messages. It's going to say, hey, this project you're opening is not the exact same version that you have. It's okay. Ignore that. Just scroll down and choose the version that you already have. Everything will be fine. I've already tested all this. All right, so choose it, click open. It's going to warn you again. You really want to change the editor version? Yes. Click change version. Then you're going to get even another pop-up, maybe even another one after that. Just click continue and okay, or whatever else it asks, and then it will launch the project fine. Okay. Once you've done that and it's opened up in Unity, you should see either a blank empty scene or this gallery scene. If you don't see the gallery scene, you need to go open up that scene. So you scroll down here, it will tell you exactly that. Welcome to the gallery. Download it and unzip it, add it to the hub. We just did all that. All right, so now in the Unity Editor's project window, open the scenes folder and open the tutorial scene shaders. So opening that scene is what's going to give you that gallery so that you can then follow along with all the rest of the tutorials in the mission. Okay. So hopefully that process made sense. We're downloading the project and adding it or opening it up. We're not creating a new project. Okay. Once you've got that set up, then you need to diligently go through each of the tutorials, making sure that you actually do all the steps inside of that tutorial in your project, so that by the end, you have full knowledge of how to work the shaders and materials, and then you're ready for your challenge. Okay, so for each of these missions, we're going to have a challenge, which is shown by your discussion post. Move back here. Okay. So in this challenge, at the end, you're going to be creating a still life composition. What does that mean? If you've ever taken an art class, you may know what that is, but it's basically just arranging a bunch of objects on a table or pedestal and just creating a setup of objects that you're proud of, sort of, or a setup that you think shows how you know all the materials. So let's go look at my completed version here and click on the link. Play. Okay, so this is that same tutorial scene that I was showing you earlier when you get started in the mission. You're going to have a bunch of objects here. They're going to have you work with these objects to change the surface to a different color, a different shininess, learn all about the different properties of a material. And then you're going to be populating this empty pedestal right here, and you're seeing the empty, with several objects showcasing that you know how to work with all different types of materials. So you know how to change the color of something. You know how to apply something that's got a graphic on it, like the Unity logo right here. You know how to work with transparent materials like the glass jar up here. A little closer. And I also encourage you, if you know how to do any 3D modeling, or if you have a friend that does, to bring those models into Unity to put onto your pedestal. For instance, these little monster guys and this sword right here are stuff that I've actually created myself. I modeled those in a sculpting program. My little guy's animated back here, bobbing around. Yours does not have to do that. We're just focusing on shaders and materials. I wrote a script that makes him bob around so it looks like he's floating in the water. You can have my script if you want it for yours to do that, but I only did that so it would look kind of more realistic with that little creature guy in the jar. Okay, So hopefully that makes sense. You want to try to showcase your own stuff, showing you know how to use all the different shaders and materials that you learned in all the tutorials. That's the whole point of the challenge. All right. So just like all of our other discussion posts, you got 3 requirements we talked about in detail this morning. Only this time you don't need a recording. You just need a screenshot showing your completed still life composition. Clickable link where we can go in and look at your scene interactively, and your 2 sentences describing at least one thing you learned about game design after completing this challenge. Okay. Lastly, before you take your quiz, and it's before, isn't it? Yes. And this is something we're going to be doing through all the missions. I talked about this last week. You're going to take your knowledge that you've gained about materials and shaders and apply that to your chosen guided projects, right? So last week you chose one of the 3 guided projects. This week you're going to be implementing your knowledge of materials and shaders into that project. So if we go look at the tutorial on that, it says at first you to review your design document, right? So if we chose Alien Video Game Shop as our guided project, we go into the design document at the top there, scroll towards the bottom for the project requirements. You can see here's some basic requirements for shaders and materials on your chosen guided project. So make sure that you implement those as they say. And this is bare minimum, okay? You're welcome to change your guided project as much as you want and implement all different types of shaders and materials onto different things in there, that this is kind of a bare minimum of what's required. All right. And lastly, before I read your weekly survey, is a reminder. Please make sure that you do very well on the practice quiz, which is on the Unity Learn website. If I click that link, you can see. Get this as perfect as possible before you even attempt the quiz that's on Canvas, right? The last thing on the agenda for the week, down here at the bottom. The little rocket ship indicates that's the real quiz that goes in the gradebook. So just a reminder, do very well on the practice quiz first. All the questions are the same as the normal quiz. All right. We reached the end here. Your weekly survey question to unlock this mission is, if you could have $1,000 gift card for free, what store would you want it to be for? And it can't be any online purchases. No Amazon cards, no Roblox, is that what they're called? No Fortnite money. You have to choose a physical store for the $1,000 gift card. Let me know what store you would choose.
So that class, yes.
You figure out why my screen's glitching. All right, there we go. Unlock your screens and you can get started. Good luck, everybody. I cannot wait to see what you come up with for your still life composition. Also, don't forget that you can use the Unity Asset Store and the entire internet to get objects to put into your scene if you want to.